everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Megan Dang and I'm a type 1 diabetic, and I'm actually a type 1 diabetic of almost 18 years now. My diaversary is coming up, and I thought I'd just sit here and kind of talk to you all about my thoughts and feelings surrounding being a diabetic for this long and just diabetes in general. On my channel I do a lot of vlogs and informative guides, but I thought for today's video I'd just kind of sit back and talk about it, because sometimes diabetes can feel like a really isolating disease, like you're going through it alone. So I thought maybe just sitting here talking about it would make others feel like they're not alone with their thoughts and what they're going through. So yeah, like I said, I'm coming up on 18 years. I was diagnosed in May of 2004 when I was 3 years old. Basically what happened was, for a few months my parents noticed the usual symptoms of diabetes. I got really skinny when I was younger before I was diagnosed. I was peeing all the time, always having a stomach ache, and I just wasn't feeling well in general. So they took me to the doctor, who said nothing was wrong with me. And then eventually, after some time, my parents' friend, who's a nurse, actually suggested that I might have type 1 diabetes and I should go get it checked out. So that's kind of my diagnosis story about how my diabetes was discovered and what happened. I honestly don't remember life without diabetes. I know that some type 1 diabetics were diagnosed a little bit later in their childhood, but because I was so young, I just don't know what life is like without it. I don't know what it's like to just get a snack without having to bolus. I don't know, what it's like to not have a pump on me at all times. I've had a pump since I was 6 years old, so I don't remember that much about pre-pump life either. I remember getting shots, but I honestly don't know that much about all of that. So diabetes is a very permanent part of my life that's been around for a really long time. I've said on my channel before, it's honestly just, it seems like second nature to me, and it just seems like an extension of myself. Every day we all have to eat food to stay alive. And it sometimes feels like a chore. Sometimes you're like, oh, I have to think about what I'm gonna eat and all this stuff. But in general, it's just kind of part of life, and that's how I feel about diabetes. Even though there's a potential of a cure soon, and I feel like there's a really good possibility, I also don't think about that much, because if there wasn't, I guess I don't really care. Which is a weird thing to say, because of course, it'd be cool not to have to think about all this, but I guess it's just part of my life where I don't expect it to be any different, just because I don't know any different, if that makes sense. When I was younger, I had a lot of embarrassment kind of surrounding my diabetes, just because I was afraid that mostly that other people would think that I have type 2 diabetes, because a lot of kids don't know what type 1 diabetes is. And I thought that my peers would think that I was unhealthy, or eating a lot of sweets. That's kind of what little kids think. And I feel like now maybe people still don't have a lot of awareness about type 1 diabetes as much as I think, but I feel like I just don't really care. I just tell people I have type 1 diabetes if they happen to ask, and I assume that they know, even though probably a lot of them don't know. And if they ask about it, then I'll just explain it. But I think I've just grown past caring about people's opinions about my diabetes, which is a good thing. Something that I've always kind of struggled with in terms of diabetes is working out and kind of playing sports with diabetes. The entirety of my life I've always been enrolled in sports. When I was younger I did soccer, and as I got older I started doing track and cross country, and now I still run and do other fun things with my friends. But it's kind of frustrating. That's a huge thing that bothers me about diabetes, is managing it when going out and exercising, because I feel like there's just so much planning that has to go into it that other people don't have to, and it makes me envious. So that's something that I'm really looking forward to if there is ever a cure, is not having to strategically plan my blood sugars before a run, during it, bring snacks and all that, which I feel like is a lot of work. Yeah, sometimes it's kind of scary, diabetes. Just the chance of, fainting, going too low, blood sugar going high, going blind in the future if you don't manage it well now. But I think that if you just look at it in the grand scheme and big picture, we're really healthy. Diabetes is something that's very controllable, and that doesn't take away from the goodness of our life and the potential for what we can do. But yeah, sometimes it can feel kind of isolating, because you know that most other people don't know what you're going through, and it can be difficult. And sometimes it's difficult thinking about how I'm just gonna have to be doing this forever. But like I said, my opinions and thoughts about this flip-flop a lot. Sometimes I'm sad and think about how it's a big deal, but 99.9% of the time it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, this is kind of just a random video. I thought I'd just talk about diabetes a little, just because I realized I've been a diabetic for so long. My diabetes is becoming an adult in a couple weeks, which is so crazy to me. That's pretty much my whole video. I thought I'd just do a little reflection. I hope this video maybe made some of you feel more connected to another diabetic. But if you have any of your own comments or questions or anything to say, please make sure to leave it down below. And thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Bye.